Good morning, my name is Livia Lee, and today we're going to talk a little bit about nutrition and genetics. So your genome knows much more about your medical history than you do. How many of you guys here know basics of genetics? 101. Keep your hands raised if you consider yourself to be an expert in genetics or nutrigenomics. Okay, my goal today is to show you 3 things about nutrition and genetics and to motivate you to get to know more about nutrigenomics and maybe incorporate it into your consultations. So let's watch this quick video.
Welcome to the future of personalized nutrition, a new approach to optimal health and longevity, where bioactive molecules are used to target body fat, muscle growth, calcium, cholesterol, and energy expenditures, an approach targeted to each person's genetic makeup.
Good afternoon. What would you like to drink?
Dry white wine, please.
And for me, a tomato juice, please.
Are you joining us for lunch?
Yes, is that possible?
No problem. If you let me have your genetic and lifestyle profile, we can arrange the menu accordingly.
A43.
And mine is G17.
Thanks.
All right, so this is the future. Okay, so these are my 3 topics for today. Is everything determined by our genome? A diet for your unique genes, and can you handle the truth? So let's start with our first topic. Is everything determined by our genome? You may be a futuristic dietitian here. So the answer is no. A lot of things influence our DNA, our gene expression. And just think about identical twins that you know. They might be identical on the outside, but then inside they are going to have different exposures, so different health risks and diseases, right? So if you think about it here, environmental factors will affect your gene expression, including diet, but a bunch of other things too. This is what we call epigenetics. So how many of you here heard of someone saying, I have high cholesterol because it's in my family, my father has it, my mother has it? It's really common, right? But what if you have a high risk of developing Alzheimer's? How do you know that? You can go to the doctor and ask him to do a regular blood work and you're going to know right there. You could have breast cancer, a risk of breast cancer, but you will not know your risks of it just based on a simple blood work. What if I tell you that you can actually go and do a DNA test to figure out your risks and easily change your risks or limit them, and you might not have the disease in the future if you follow those steps? That's what Angelina Jolie did. It's called DNA sequencing. She got DNA building blocks, put them in order, check for variants, and then you link those with risks that you could have in the future. So it's called DNA sequencing. Now, moving on, after you find out your risks, you think about what can you do with nutrition to decrease or eliminate those risks. Here is a big name, a strong example of a doctor who researched about nutrigenomics. He's the director of the nutrigenomics lab of the USDA. And he took the Framingham heart study. He looked at those participants' HDL molecules. And then he looked at their gene variants to see if anything changed in relation to their HDL molecules. And then further, after dividing by their gene variants, they divided even further based on their diet, what they were eating. So in this case, if you look at example A, they had the green gene variant here. The more polyunsaturated fats they ate, the larger were their HDL molecules. But then if you have a different gene variant, which in this case was the red and blue one, the more polyunsaturated fats you had in your diet, the smaller your HDL molecules. So you can see right there the huge relationship with genetics and nutrition. And we can see that nutrigenomics do influence your epigenetics, and especially the diet part of it. And you can change your genes expression. And then we move on to a third, more ethical subtopic. Can you handle the truth after you know your risks? We all saw the headlines about Angelina Jolie figuring out her BRCA gene variant mutation, and then she decided to undergo and do a double mastectomy because she had a very high risk of developing breast cancer. What if you have that information at birth? How are you going to handle that for your child? So just remember, our human genome was first sequenced in 2003, but it wasn't that long ago. And then the first startup company who offered that service to consumer was 23andMe. The price decreased a lot. It was from $999 to $99 only, so it was more affordable for consumers to do. They took the human genome, they analyzed 900,000 points, and then related those points to health risks that you could have. That was until last May. The FDA blocked the sales. They were thinking about putting the kits in Walgreens and selling over the counter, but then they were questioning their legality. One group of people were saying, well, we don't have a lot of studies, there are a lot of false positives. People may feel too anxious about doing this because, well, okay, now I have to do a surgery just like Angelina Jolie did it. But then the other side thinks, no, it's a motivational tool. You can use this for people to change their behavior, eat healthier. And then I'll ask you guys, if you can have the information about your health risks, and you can do something about it with nutrigenomics, which is not that invasive. You just change your nutrients and the diet of people. Wouldn't you know your risks for your child, for your family, for your clients? So just to summarize, the first topic we answered, is everything determined by our genome? No, that's why we have our epigenetics. Our environmental factors change our gene expressions. For second, a diet for unique genes. That's when nutrigenomics comes into place and we have a specific diet for each one of us. And for our third one, can you handle the truth? Well, that depends on how you think about it. If you think about prevention, then yes, why not just handle the truth and do something? Just do something to prevent your diseases. And I really think that this is the future. We have our guidelines for vitamins and minerals since the 1940s, with only small changes that were made to them. We might not have the medical nutrition therapy anymore if we use the genetic code diets for our new recommendations, because if you remember the HDL molecule and the different foods, the healthy fats that they were eating changed the size of their molecules. So everybody's very different. And jobs, maybe the only dietitians that know genetics in the future will be the ones who will be in the workplace, who will have a job. And just a homework for you, when you get home and you have some time to check the handout, I recommend that there are a lot of 101 free classes online. I also got a complimentary research database that you can check. Just use the username and password for it, and in March it's going to be free to check some research out. So this is a new era. Right now, we understand how the environment impacts our health, and we can actually measure that. It all comes down to your genetic load the gun, and your lifestyle pulls the trigger. So just a recap. What determines the health risks that you have? My genome. B, my genes, lifestyle and environmental factors, or my nutrigenomics? Anyone? B. True or false, epigenetic related disorders are potentially reversible and can be prevented with nutrition. True or false? True! Yes, we can prevent. And then why would someone choose to do a DNA sequencing? To know what diseases one has? To know what one should or should not be eating? Or to prevent diseases? C. C? What about B? Yeah. All right, do you guys have any questions? All right, thank you.